don't like a watch, you will read it. Don't think your clients are fools. You have to take them seriously.
We produce products for your whole lifetime, so why should we follow a trend?
Yeah, this is a very first for all of us, I guess. I'm very pleased to have you here in the Fortis headquarters. And yeah, together we are here with Jupp, our owner, and RJ from Fratello, famous RJ, I would say, maybe.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Meanwhile, you are probably.
One of the most famous people.
How are you guys doing? Can I get you a beer?
Yes, that would be nice.
You a beer?
Yes, please.
Cool. So how are you?
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How was the travel so far?
Was good, except for the plane had some issues, so there was a little bit of a delay.
Okay.
But no, I think the train ride is longer than the flight. Yeah.
You came directly from Amsterdam.
Amsterdam to Zurich, and Zurich by train. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You're fine?
No,
Feeling good, feeling good, bit tired, bit hungry, as always.
Tired, hungry, like every day at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, today we want to chat a bit about Fratello, obviously, but Fortis, about the capsule edition, something you prepared, and a bit maybe about the two brands.
Yeah.
To give the community a bit of insights.
Perfect.
And yeah, let's just get it rolled. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe now. And can you tell us a bit about your background?
Yes.
That would be nice. I mean, how you get started and all of this in the world of watches.
Yeah,
maybe
cheers.
First.
Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers.
I don't have a background in watches. I have a background in IT and information management, so something completely different.
Didn't know that.
And because as a kid I didn't know what I wanted to do when I was grown up.
Yeah.
Still don't know, but at some point it ended up in being in a university for information management.
Okay.
And but as a kid I always had a fascination for watches, and I was born in '77, so my first watch was not a mechanical watch.
Oh, you had a quartz
But
first.
yeah, even digital. Digital.
Okay.
It's a bit like cursing at a church here, perhaps. But I had,
Casio?
of course.
Of course, I think this was also one of my first.
It's like a G-Shock thing.
Yeah.
You know?
A W14. No, I was too small. You wouldn't say it now, but I was too small for a G-Shock. I was very small, slim kid, and I remember seeing the G-Shocks, but they were huge, and so I bought a smaller one. And so I was always fascinated later on by Swatch. I guess I can say that here in Genshin as well.
Say whatever you want.
Yeah, and so Swatch was my entry to watches, I guess. And so watches, I always had this fascination. My family and also wearing nice watches, and my grandparents. And so I was a little bit indoctrinated by Omega as a brand, as my grandparents wore it, and even my great-grandfather had an Omega Constellation. And so that trickled down a little bit. So I think in '98 I got my first serious watch. Was then an Omega watch, and that really set it off. So I was already in university, but having that watch and then looking at, in this case, the Speedmaster to save up for while I was in university, there was really something, and it became kind of an obsession. And not in a weird way, but
Luckily.
so I saw a Speedmaster in a local watch shop in The Hague where I was studying, and I was a student, so I didn't have any money, but I did have a car, a Peugeot 205 GTI.
Okay.
And but it was in The Hague, so I didn't need a car. So originally I'm from the east part of the Netherlands, and there's no proper public transport there, so you need a car. And I thought, I don't need this car, man, but I need that watch. So I sold the car, got the watch.
Okay, that's quite cool, huh?
And it's even worse, and my parents don't know this, but I was doing this study, information management, so you need a computer, right?
Yeah.
I also sold a computer.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah, you
The
did.
money from the Peugeot was not enough.
While studying the whole IT information
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Oh, crazy.
So what
I hope they had some computers in the university.
Yes, they had, and I didn't do that much there. So no.
Was that back like, what is it? These old...
It was all the Intel Pentium ones.
Intel Pentium ones,
So the old ones with Windows and so on.
Nice. With this
So I got rid of those, of that laptop. It was a laptop, and then I bought that watch, and that got me like crazy about watches.
So that was a Speedmaster?
That was Speedmaster. Okay. So I got a Constellation for my graduation, basically, in '98, from my mother. And because everyone had Constellations with us, so that was basically the logical thing then to give to the son or to the kid. And then I went to the retailer, looked at the brochure, said, "Oh, Speedmaster, that's nice. It was sporty." And so I didn't look that much at other brands because I was so indoctrinated by this brand. And but then I went online, and there were communities like Watch You Seek and Time Zone. I think Watch You Seek is still there, properly. I think Time Zone became much smaller over the years, but I was very active and started collecting watches, all sorts of brands in the end. And one of the guys the guy that I bought the watch from in The Hague, the Speedmaster, he became one of my friends actually, and he had a watch shop until like 10 years ago, and he's now one of the editors for Fratello, so that's a nice thing. Gerard de Nijmbrings,
What is this? This is the Casio guy, right?
He's the Casio guy. He also has a Fortis.
I know that. I know that one.
And but that's how it started with watches. I became very active, and at some point I thought, man, it's nice to be so active online, but perhaps also nice to share my own thoughts and things. And I got so many questions in from other persons and people that I thought, well, perhaps I need some way to do like a Q&A online, that if people ask a question, I can redirect them to a URL that they can read about a certain watch. And it was the early days of blogs, basically. So I installed WordPress, which is this CMS, content management system.
Still today.
Yeah, used by blogs and online magazines. And we're still running on that today. Not the same set, but I installed WordPress 1.0, I think, in 2004. And I think I was one of the first, if not the first, blog about watches in 2004. And then, I started working and did some other things. And then in 2012, I decided it was time to be full-time in watches.
Very, very cool.
And it changed a little bit into a magazine. So it went from a blog, a one-man show, basically. We got some people on board, into like a proper online magazine that it is today. But it took quite some years, so 19 years this year. Yeah.
Okay, that's quite long.
Yeah,
that's quite long. What does Fratello stand for? Well, I know.
Oh, you know?
I know.
Yeah, Fratello means brother. It's an Italian word for brother. And broer is my last name, B-R-O-E-R. But you pronounce it differently in German or in French. So I thought I need to come up with a name that's pronounced everywhere the same. And it's a little bit of a cheat code here, because when I was a student, I liked watches so much that I also started buying and having watches restored and then selling them again. So Fratello Watches, I had that domain already 1 year earlier, before I started the blog or the magazine. And I traded watches.
Okay.
So that's why the watches came into place, basically, in the URL. And so that at some point I also thought, I need a job, a real job. So I stopped doing that, and then I kept Fratello Watches as a domain name or as a name, and then started a blog in 2004. Yeah. Cool. So Fratello means brother, which is my last name in Italian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I got the connection.
Yeah.
It's very interesting that he's kind of putting his passion into the job. I guess it's basically the same with you and Fortis.
Yeah,
probably.
a little bit, yes.
How did it start on your end? I mean, that's also very interesting to know.
Yeah, how I started. So I bought the company, or not the company, the brand in 2018. And it all started because I'm an entrepreneur and I have several companies. I'm normally from the fruit business.
Yeah.
Fruit juice concentrates and all. And then it started getting boring after 20 years.
Oh, no, I don't know.
So if you talk about strawberries, it's not the same interesting like talking about watches.
They don't change that much, right?
No,
No new versions or
no. And then I started to look to new companies to buy, because I wanted to do something extra. I'm still doing the fruit concentrate business, but I started, I need something extra, something with passion, something has fun, all day work. And then I wrote in the newspaper that Fortis is out of money.
Oh.
And I told to my wife, and she told me, hey, why do you not buy Fortis? Because you buy so many Fortis watches, you can also buy the companies. It makes much more sense. Okay, but I stopped it because I say, hey, I do not have anything to do with luxury industry. It's not this where I'm coming from. I'm from the B2B business and not B2C. And then a friend of me called me, and he said he has a company in Grenchen, which is located just 500 meters away from here. Okay. And he asked me if I want to buy his company, and he's producing hands for the watch industry.
Oh.
So he took me, and we gone by the street, and I saw the Fortis building, and then I recognized that Fortis is here, and then I asked him, okay, do you know them? Yes, we are producing the hands for them. Okay. Can you call them? Yes, of course. Okay, let's make an appointment this afternoon. Okay, and then he called him.
Yeah.
He said, do you have time? Yeah, it's okay. And then I went here in, and I went to the museum, and then the CEO came in, and I asked him just direct, is it possible to buy the company? Yes. Okay, let's talk.
Wow.
Then it started.
Amazing.
And was a 6 months negotiation.
Yeah, but it's fast.
Yeah.
It's fast.
Yeah, it's fast.
And to buy a company that's that old, to buy that in 6 months, or
Yeah.
to get that process done. And everything.
But you already
That's
had your
really
Fortis watches.
Yeah, I was always a Fortis fan, always.
fast. First watch? No, second watch. Was a
No,
Cosmo,
it was
right?
not my first one, but when I started getting into mechanical watches.
Yeah.
The first one was an official cosmonauts from Fortis in titanium. I still have it with the Le Mania movement. It was 2004.
Yeah.
So, and then I was one of these guys. On every window you stand still and say, oh, this is nice. And this is okay. And then I buy one, buy another. I have other brands also, but this was always my...
You were a Fortis collector.
Yeah, I'm a Fortis collector.
Nice.
Yeah, you told me once the nice story that all the important events in your life, like marriage, birth of the kids,
It was
there's always
always
a cosmonaut on the pictures.
Yeah, oh, that's
yeah,
nice.
it was always my favorite one.
It's like your Speedy story, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
It
Omega
is.
story.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Very cool.
Tell us a bit about what sets Fortis apart from other watch brands, in your opinion.
It's quite hard to define because there's so many brands out there and doing all not the same stuff, but every brand does it individually and they do it really good. But I think the main difference between Fortis and all the other brands is, of course, we are space-proof. Yes, Omega is Speedmaster is also space-proof, but we are family-owned and family-managed. And the most important thing is that we are really unconventional for a luxury product.
Yeah.
Yeah? I always explain it there are a lot of old champagnes out there, and there's a fresh young cold beer, and that's Fortis. So for me, so we're doing all this old-fashioned stuff we don't like.
Yeah.
We are a young team and going forward and thinking out of the box. Talking about new things, redefine everything, though a pilot watch is not a pilot. You do not forget all you know about pilot watches. Talk about what it's really all about. And then start from new.
Yeah.
So this is how we are working. And I think this is the main difference.
Yeah.
It's interesting because then you turn into a new direction or a new strategy while there is quite a bit of history with Fortis and cosmonaut watches and so on.
Yeah. There are a lot of brands out there, micro brands, doing really unconventional things and really nice things, but they do not have the same history like Fortis.
Yeah.
If you just, take a look at the history of Fortis, you see a 110-year-old company was always part of the watch industry. And if you talk about the Swiss watch industry, Fortis was always one of the most important brands until the maybe 80s, 80s, 90s. But they wrote history.
At that point.
And this is the biggest difference. So we are like I always call us the oldest startup in the world. We have this mentality of a startup, but we have the history of like all the other big brands.
So what do you take from the traditional watchmaking part of Fortis, and what do you use that is so unconventional? And does that always go together? I can imagine if you talk to suppliers, for example, that it becomes sometimes a tough discussion.
Yeah, it is a tough discussion because they did not. At the first meetings, they did not understand that there's a change. They thought we will go the same way and go on. I said, no, this is not. And now the standards are much more higher than before. Yes, we talk about construction and see all the micromillimeters. No, this is wrong, doing this. Yeah. And I think we are still working by hand. We are still working the traditional way of watchmaking.
Yeah.
I will show you tomorrow.
Yeah.
But we have this modern way of thinking, the modern way of designing and construction and things. What is it really all about? We do not take care about tradition.
Yeah.
Only in making and the quality thinking, but it has to be a really all-day robust tool watch.
A watch for now, for today.
Watch for now, for today, for the future. We do not think about the past.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's like you always have these trends coming in and out and stuff.
Yeah.
And for example, we're not doing trends.
Yeah.
That's something where we're simply not fast enough or quick enough, not, let's say, that flexible in terms of whatever quantities. I mean, we are still a family-owned kind of...
Yeah, and we need 2 to 4 years to develop a watch. So I cannot follow trends.
No.
The trend is gone when I'm ready.
Yeah.
And we produce products for your whole lifetime.
Yeah.
So why should we follow a trend?
Yeah, and
doesn't make sense.
And perhaps that's also why a lot of watches or brands that do try to follow trends, they will go out of style very quickly.
Yes,
Yeah, that's exactly the point.
Yeah.
What sets Fratello apart from the other blogs? Or watch magazines?
Watch magazines. Yeah, I think. Well, sometimes I still call it a blog, but in the end, I think it doesn't cover the load anymore. I think an online watch magazine is a bit more broader or wider than a blog. And I think today's blog would be like people on Twitter or TikTok. And I rather see that as blogging than having an online magazine. What sets us apart from the rest? I think that it's really a passionate team, and I'm not saying that the others are not passionate, but we only have people on board that are truly passionate about watches. So we have 2 persons with a proper journalistic background on board, but they are also very much watch collectors and watch enthusiasts. I think if you have a good journalist or a good writer, they can write about anything.
True.
I can't. I can only write about watches, and I think that goes for a large part of the team. And I think we really try to keep it genuine. Our interest and passion is very genuine. If we don't like a watch, you will read it, that we don't like a watch.
That's okay.
And I also feel that you can't fool your audience. I think as soon as you write that everything is lovely and wonderful, it doesn't make sense, because sometimes that doesn't make sense to do.
This is one of the biggest problems of all these influencers, because they have to.
They have to.
Yeah, everything is nice and everything is perfect.
And the problem I have with influencers, for example, is that some are really good. Don't get me wrong. I think if you can be very genuine in what you do and what you carry and what kind of watch you want to show or who you are, but. Yeah, then I see influencers that have a bridling on one day on Instagram, for example, and a week later they're all raving about Daniel Wellington.
Yeah,
that doesn't make sense.
No,
so then you see, man, this is not genuine. It's a paid job, and that's also fine. But it shines through, I feel. And I think don't underestimate your audience. Don't think and also for brands, don't think your clients are fools. Yeah, you have to take them seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I agree 100%.
So we try to be very genuine. I think we are very genuine. And we also try to be a bit on eye level with our audience. So we always pick our audience side, basically. We're on the side of our audience. That's for us our leverage. And
so
I think
you listen to your clients.
We listen to our readers, basically.
Yeah, I love that also. If you read the comments, they get re-commented by the team and stuff.
We try really to really engage with them, and we take it seriously what they write. And sometimes also there's fun, making fun and so on. That's also fine. But sometimes they really have good comments and really we have a good qualitative audience, I would say. And sometimes that also results in new articles or new content.
True. Yeah. Both of you, can you share some thoughts on the current state of the watch industry? Where's it heading in the future? I mean, there's so many influences coming in. It's like, yes, the smartwatch, forget about that. But there's so many, from very high level, entry level to micro brands to Scandinavian brands to German brands to American micro brands. We've been to the wind-up watch fairs.
Yeah.
There's so many brands I haven't heard of now in this industry. It's like, damn it.
But it also keeps it very fresh. I feel. And sometimes they can really surprise you, these micro brands, and that's something that I really appreciate. My only worry is, and that's the thing that also sets Fortis perhaps apart from like micro brands. Is sometimes I wonder if there's a micro brand with a new watch. I think, man, that's a great looking watch. But what if it needs to be serviced in 15 or 20 years from now? And I think if they have a generic movement, it's probably all fine. But what if the crown falls off or the dial cracks?
This is
where are we getting the spare parts from in 20 years from now?
Good. This is one of the questions, especially on the wind-up watch fair, where all the micro brands, and of course the fans form micro brands, and they ask me, okay, why are you why is it more costly, Fortis, than this micro brand? I say,
after
because
sales
I
service.
have a worldwide service center.
Yeah,
I have
exactly.
service center all over the world.
Yeah.
You have a building.
I have a building. I have a big team.
Yeah.
I have to have the stock and all that stuff. This you don't have in the micro brand, and that's why they can be cheaper than us.
Yeah, and so for me, there's a price cap on what I'm willing to pay for a micro brand that does not have like a proper after-sales service or like a proper service network, because I need to take that into account.
But you think these micro brands certainly definitely an appearance that's going to stay with us?
I think they have been here for quite a while now, and I think some of the micro brands are turning into like proper brands. I feel, I think some do a very nice job. But yeah, they're here to stay because you see new brands popping up. Every week we get them in our mailbox.
It feels like every week, huh?
Sometimes there's a lot of junk in between them, and they try to just make a quick buck. It feels, and others they really put a lot of thought into
absolutely,
it. Yeah.
How do you keep up with the latest developments? What are you reading? Obviously you don't get your information from your own watch magazine.
Well, sometimes I do because we have a large team of writers these days, and some pick up news or specific watches that I haven't seen because I have also other things to do, and then I read it for the first time on Fratello. But mainly it's during brand visits, shows like Watches and Wonders, of course, or Geneva Watch Days. Yeah. But also our mailbox, we get so many emails from brands or micro brands that are very enthusiastic about showing their latest watches to us. But I enjoy the shows the most. So the exhibitions and the shows. So for me, it feels a bit sad that Basel World is not there anymore because that felt a bit more laid back. Yeah. But also things like Salon QP. I think there's now a Watch Pro Salon in London. Yeah. And those kind of things, small scale or larger scale, like Watches and Wonders, those are very nice to visit. But unfortunately, they're also very costly for brands. Yeah. So sometimes it's very difficult to have everyone at one place.
That's one of our issues, I guess. To go to Geneva is just not, first and foremost, not our cup of tea, I guess. And it's, we don't have those budgets like, those big players where you have like booth the size of a building and stuff like that. So to be there makes no sense for us at that point. But that's why we're trying to go to Wind Up and stuff, or in Germany there's
because
the watch time.
I try to get as much personal contact to the clients as possible. Yeah. Because I want to see, I want to hear them, I want to feel, okay, what do they really think? Yeah. And the problem, especially on Basel, was that this was just a B2B fair at the end. Yeah. It doesn't make sense for us to spend so much money just to talk to the retailers. Yeah. These guys I can visit, but I want to talk to the fans. Yeah. And I think they really missed, and I really want to have it for the future, is one big Swiss watch fair. Only Swiss watch brands, makers, everything together, and have this like Cannes, the movie fair. Everybody, the whole world knows about. Everybody. Yeah. And
it's an institution.
It's an institution, but everybody knows about. And to be honest, if you're not really a watch nerd, you never heard about Basel World. Yeah, never.
True. No, true. Yeah.
And this is what I think the watch industry needs. But for this, all this watch brand has to work together, and it's quite complicated, especially with the big ones. Yeah. The small ones, they do not have a budget. The big ones have a budget nobody can afford, and they're always bigger like you. Yeah,
so and they also don't want to be with everyone.
Yeah, and they don't want Rolex don't want to see Omega and blah 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 blah. So okay, but that's bad. I think that's bad for the whole Swiss watch brand. Yeah, because at the end there's one big brand. And this is a Swiss watch.
Exactly.
And you want to belong all together.
Yeah. Tell us, what was one of your most memorable experiences through the past 19 years?
Wow. There are a couple. Some are very private. So, you
can tell me secretly.
No, also because I think it involves other people that involve me in a very private setting where a watch or a special thing we did with their watch was very private and personal, and those were really, really special to me. Those sometimes were tearjerkers straight away. It's about emotion, right?
So of course, it's all about.
I think the coolest things are when you are able to give a watch to someone, or when you receive a watch from someone you love. I think those are so precious, and that's why I feel that watches can be very, very special.
Sure.
So definitely a few of those things, and I think if I talk only for myself, getting a watch from officially for my daughter for my first Father's Day, but my wife bought it. So that, for me, that is special. But also giving a watch to my father was very nice moment. So yeah, those kind of things. And of course the first Omega that I got from my mother for my graduation. I think those kind of moments, I think, have a special place to me. If it's a bit broader in terms of experiences, I would say my trip to Japan was very special. We did an event with our readers. We had 10 readers with us to visit the Grand Seiko manufacturers in Japan. Yeah, that was an amazing experience. It was so great because also you're in a completely different world, right?
Yeah.
So that was very special. And I have to say, what I enjoy the most is with Fratello, especially, is the events. If we do events with our readers, man, it's so, like you say, it's so cool to meet your audience, to meet your readers, and talk about watches and try to see what keep them going when it comes to watches, what they like, what they want to read, what they like to see. I think that interaction is just very special, and I think in the past 19 years I made many new friends from this world alone, and I think that's super special. And it's incomparable to the industries I've worked before. I was in consulting and I was in banking. But
that's no emotions probably.
None whatsoever.
I think this was one of the most surprising things to me, that we are all able to talk the whole day about a round thing showing the time, and it's still fun.
But it's also
every day.
It's a kind of a privilege to be working in this industry. Absolutely. I feel, because it's, like I said, so connected often to emotions and to it's a very special product, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's like a treasure you're gonna keep forever.
Yeah,
you always have these moments.
The problem is I have many of these treasures. Sometimes I wish I would just only have one watch. Because sometimes I'm jealous at people that just have one watch, that they don't need to put a lot of thought into it, and I will get that specific watch and wear it for the rest of my life.
It's not bad.
Okay.
Sometimes I'm a bit jealous about that, but then I think, but I also need that watch.
We discuss it every day. So what is your last watch? And what is the watch for the island you go to? But it changes every day.
Exactly. It doesn't work like that. Like a grill watch, but there's always a next grill. There's always a next exit.
Definitely. It's not really satisfying.
It is.
But the journey, for me, it's really about the journey, about collecting, meeting different people, seeing different brands, experiencing different brands and watches. That journey is just a lot of fun. I think people should not forget that it's really about their journey of watch collecting and not so much owning those specific watches.
The hunting is much more experience.
I guess it's a bit like think about what you buy. Finally, it's like, yes, you could buy like the big names, or are you going for something that you maybe thought twice?
Yeah, of course.
Or something special that not everyone on the table has. That kind of things. Yeah, I can agree on that. That's the hunt for it. The hunt for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Quite enjoying. How do you collaborate with brands, other influencers, and whatsoever in the watch industry? I mean, we've seen quite a couple of editions with Fratello as well. You're doing Speedy Tuesday. There's all this kind of stuff. How much part is that of Fratello? I mean, we can see that mainly on Fratello, I would say, especially obviously Speedy Tuesday and stuff.
Yeah, because it started a bit with the Speedmaster, so to say. That was the watch that got me into it. So there's a bit of a special place. I collect Speedmasters myself. I also have other watches, but I feel at some point, if you don't have a specific theme in collecting, you're more or less hoarding.
You're losing track of it.
You're losing track a little bit, and so I thought, okay, let's collect Speedmasters, and other watches that I will buy are the ones that I should be wearing as well, and not so much for collecting purposes. So that's why the Speedmaster has like a special place on Fratello. So because we do every Tuesday, we do the Speedy Tuesday, and we started doing events with Speedmaster collectors.
And there was plenty out there, right?
There was plenty out there, and it's a lot of fun, and we did that early on. So I think way before we coined Speedy Tuesday, we already did like lunches with Speedmaster collectors, and We also had at some point, as we called it, espresso and watches. Every first Sunday morning of the month, we went to a place and have coffee and a croissant with some watch fans, and so it started very early on.
Okay.
But with Fratello, we thought, hey man, it's such a nice community that we have, not only for Speedmasters, but watches in general. That, man, it's so nice to meet these people and to talk to them and to also introduce them to the brands that we also collaborate with. I think that's also added value for brands, and I also feel it's added value for the readers to talk to the brands themselves without us being in between, without us converting the message of this new watch, and we write about it and give our thoughts, and then they read it. But now they can also ask the questions directly at the brands.
I mean, you can feel that when you read it and stuff. It's like you feel, it's not just putting the Fratello on the case back and then
No, so
there's a lot of
it all has to make
well
sense.
thought out.
It has to make sense, and it has to feel
good for everyone.
good for everyone, and it needs to be like part of Fratello, and it needs to fit the audience.
Why is it Speedy Tuesday and not Monday?
Because I took a picture of a Speedmaster on my wrist while on a holiday in Cannes, in France, in 2012. And I took a picture and I posted it online in some Facebook group, I think it was. And I said it's Speedy Tuesday because it was a Tuesday.
Nice.
It could have been a Monday, but it was a Tuesday.
Luckily, we have a Fortis Friday.
But and I posted it and I thought, hey, it sounds nice. So perhaps I can do something with it, and gave it some thought, and then I used it for a title on Fratello.
Nice.
But yeah, I know there's a Fortis Friday, and I think there's a Grand Seiko Wednesday, and everyone tries to do something. And that's all fine, but it needs to be genuine, because we also got approached by brands that said, hey, can you do this and this brand Thursday? I said, no, but no. No, it doesn't make sense.
But it's always
it needs to be
important for a
genuine.
brand to do something with the community.
Yeah.
And that's for us, of course, Fortis Friday is one of many things.
Yeah.
But you have this online community and you have to...
And it also doesn't make sense for all brands. I think there's only few brands out there that you can do like a proper events with and community things with. Yeah. And that I think that also sets Fortis apart from other brands, because...
True, I mean, the Fortis community is sometimes quite underestimated, but it's not that small, actually.
It's like, quite big.
It's quite
I
big.
was really surprised how big the community is already.
I can perfectly imagine,
Jupp, how does Fortis actually stay relevant in this supermarket of watches?
I think this is the most complicated
or
thing in our job.
It's like you often get the questions, why should I pay that for a Fortis if I can get a Speedmaster or whatever?
Of course. But I think there are a lot of big brands.
Yeah.
There are a lot of much more micro brands. And I think Fortis is the connection between this young thinking out of the box and this really high-end watch industry doing their own thing, living in their own world.
Yeah.
So I think this is the biggest. We want to produce this kind of quality, this high-end, this really traditional. This is what we all. That's why we buy a Speedmaster or something, or a Rolex or what else. But this is what we want to produce. But we want to have this image and this feeling of a micro brand. I want to have that my clients have the feeling, hey, we are different. We are not just one of these next submarine users.
Yeah.
It's like every Fortis owner kind of gets the feeling of belonging to the company.
Yeah,
that kind of feeling.
Yeah, and that's exactly the thing. I think as a brand you need fans, otherwise there's no reason to do anything, I guess. I think with Fortis that is clear that they are also in here for you. Because you're very open, you open up to your customers, you attend these get-togethers, and I think that makes it very likable. And for me, at the start, I didn't think about it in this way that much, but in today's world, because I'm working in this industry, I really want to like the people behind the watch brand. I want to like the people where I spend my money.
Yeah, sure.
Because there are still a lot of brands out there that don't even say thank you when they take your money.
Oh man,
it is.
Yeah. And that's all, and we all know the brands, but it's awful, and I don't get that.
They're just a black wall.
Yeah.
You do not know what is behind.
Yeah.
And I think this was the first thing we did. Open the doors.
Yeah.
No walls. If you have a booth on a fair, there are no walls.
Yeah.
There's just a big table, and everybody can join us.
Beer.
And beer, of course, and coffee.
Yeah. No, that can make a big difference. And I remember I met the guys from Linde Werdelin, Danish brand, but I think they mainly reside in London. Super nice guys, super passionate about watches, and for me it was more about them when I ordered a watch than about the watch itself. Yeah. I think the watch is nice, but those guys are so nice. And then you also want to spend money with them. And I think that's a nice thing. That's a nice.
And I mean, we also try this. Basically, we're having this issue that we do not have like plenty of doors where you can actually buy a Fortis. So we're trying to do things also on the online way a bit different. So we're having this virtual space where you can actually pop into our watchmaking room, and you can further up front. You can tell us which watch you like to see, which wrist size you have, and then we find the right person in house. It's like you have the glasses on, you can have a wrist check and stuff like that. So I think the experience that a consumer needs with a brand is so much more in the watch industry than in. I mean, it's something so personal. You wear it for the rest of your life, best case, or even give it away afterwards. But, at the end of the day, it's like you have to have that connection and security that you do the right things. So I think that you need to have nowadays you need to have a good website. You have need to have this possibility for the consumers to kind of get a touch and feel without touch and feel. That's very important, I guess.
Yeah, it's very difficult. If you go into a boutique or in a shop, there might be someone there that says, "Hi, how can I help you? What kind of watches do you want to look at?" and so on. And if you go to a cold website, you have to find your own way. You have to. There's no one to greet you and so on. So you have to compensate in other ways to give that perfect experience.
So you're both watch collectors, I would say. You obviously are.
Yeah.
If you could pick one out of your collection.
That also differs per day, I would say. If I need to pick one, I think in general, okay, I will pick two. I don't listen to you. I pick two. I will pick the watch that belonged to my grandfather that I got, and I will pick the watch that I got from my daughter.
Nice one.
Yeah. So it's still about emotion. Those are the watches that I always want to keep.
Both are Speedmasters?
No.
No?
No. For my grandfather was a gold constellation.
Okay.
Yeah. For my daughter was a Speedmaster.
Okay. Yeah. But how many Speedmasters do you have?
I don't know exactly, to be honest. It's not that much. It's not that much. But I don't know exactly. But I think it's between 30 and 35, something like that.
Yeah, nice. That's a huge box.
Something like that.
You wear them all day, or
and all at the same time.
No. But wearing all of them.
No.
I mean, the golden one is only for Sundays. I guess.
No, I actually
events.
I almost wear the gold one the most.
Is it?
Yeah. At first, when I bought it, I thought, "Oh, this is so expensive. Perhaps I should only wear it on special occasions, Christmas or whatever." But then I had it on my wrist, and I thought, "The hell with that! I will wear it every day."
Nice.
So, and I also feel watches are for wearing. That's for me.
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah.
So no, I wear not all of them because some of them are like a bit weird models. There's a strange LCD model from 1977 that I think it's nice to have, but it's not for wearing. And there are some others that I hardly wear because it's also too difficult because everything is stored in a safe outside, external safe. So you have to go there, you have to wait, you have to change, and so I try to change a little bit, but some watches I haven't seen for years. So, but I also collect other watches, all hoarding, I should say. So I have other brands as well, and but like I said, everything is for wearing for me.
That's very good.
Yeah.
On your end?
Yeah, it's the same. I'm not a normal watch collector, so I'm not one of these guys. Okay, what fits to my collection or what else? So I just because I like it, I like to wear it, I buy it.
Yeah.
So
well, that's the best way.
this is how I always go
What's
through.
the one you would pick?
I really don't know, but to be honest, I think it will be my first one.
The official Cosmo?
Yeah, the official Cosmonaut Titanium.
Okay. Nice.
I have worn it for 20 years.
But that's also nice, right?
Yeah, of course. And this is why where I have all my experience inside, and my history and everything I know about the past. It's inside this watch.
Every scratch.
That's cool.
Every scratch, and all my whole collection is scratched.
Yeah.
because I have worn them really.
Yeah. Same for me. It's they have scratches and dents and dings, and it's
It's like every scratch a story, basically.
at some point not anymore. But the first scratch hurts the most. And
Yeah.
if you're lucky, you remind how it came about.
And I have never sold one of my watches.
Well, that's also good.
Oh, wow.
Never.
Interesting. Okay.
I do not buy watches to sell them any time I buy them because
It's not
I
an
like it.
invest, so
Yeah.
it's
But sometimes you want to trade up. If you don't have like unlimited funds,
Okay.
at some point you want to. I want to have that special piece, but it's so expensive. I need to sell a few.
Yeah.
That's how I did it at first as well. To trade up more or less. Yeah.
Nice. What are the future plans and goals for Fratello?
I think we just want to keep growing. We show like proper 3-digit growth numbers year over year. And
What's the number of subscribers on a newsletter or something you have?
Cool. Newsletter I wouldn't know, but I think we are at 1.6 million sessions a month on the website, which is quite good. Like around 1 million unique visitors, I would say, at this moment.
Great.
And we are still growing. There's no decline. And for me, that's important to grow and grow. And perhaps we want to be the number one at some point.
Nice. How far is that away?
Well, not that far, I would say. Not that far.
But in Europe, probably you...
In Europe we are, definitely.
are,
And worldwide we are not yet. But we see that we are getting more ground.
Okay.
And we're getting more and more engagement. We really put in a lot of effort to get more engagement on the website. So we come up with a Sunday morning showdown where we have 2 editors, each picking a watch, battling each other, so people can vote. So really try to involve the audience in voting and in commenting, doing events. Last year we had a tremendously nice event in The Hague with 60 of our readers. After all the COVID pandemic stuff, it was really time to go out again.
Yeah.
And those things are amazing, and I think we will want to build further on that.
That's very good. Jupp, what can the customers expect from Fortis in the future? Both product and brand.
Product and brand. Brand just keep on, because I think we have already built it. It's there. Just get all over the world.
Yeah.
So this is the first about the brand, but I think the identity of the brand is clear. And products, of course, there's coming a lot of quite interesting things this year and next year, but I cannot tell really.
Maybe something for space.
Yes, maybe. I think if you're really a Fortis fan,
you know.
I think you should know, because I think, yes, we are redefining all the families. Yeah. Everybody knows what's my personal favorite watch, and we have started with the Flieger, then the Marine Master, then the Stratoliner. Guess what next?
Yeah, exactly. What's your strongest market for Fortis?
At the moment, it's Germany, Austria, and Switzerland.
So Europe.
Yes,
Yeah.
German-speaking part, because
Dach countries.
Dach country, yeah, but because I thought, hey, let's work at home where you understand the people, you have the same language, because we have to learn.
Yeah.
We learned a lot the last 5 years. And now it's the time, okay, now we know how it works.
Yeah.
And let's go out, and I see for the future US that's the biggest market. Yeah, definitely.
I can imagine, yeah. For us, that's also a really big chunk for readership. And we do collaborations with brands sometimes, and then I think often they go to the US as well.
Yeah. Of course, and you have to check where does your brand fit, because I always say, what should I do in China?
Yeah.
Our identity does not fit to Chinese people.
And Japan, for example, because they are crazy about watches.
Yeah, Japan is a quite big market for us from history.
Yeah.
I think Fortis was one of the first brands
I mean, we
had a distribution in Japan.
Yeah.
And we are still have the same distributor
since 25 years or something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's Hotta Group.
Okay.
So they're doing the Rolex stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they need more time to see whether there's a change.
Yeah.
This
Very conservative.
It's a more traditional market,
Interesting.
and if there's a change, they need a little bit more time.
Yeah.
So we care at the moment mostly in front of your door.
Yeah.
Because this is
the
the best way for us.
Imagine.
But then I really think for the US market, the brand is perfect. This is what the Americans love.
Yeah.
So
I think so too.
Let's go the next step.
Yeah.
Cool watches, a bit rugged.
Yeah.
Can take some hits and stuff.
Yeah.
I guess so. All right, the capsule edition.
Oh, we have to talk about this one.
Oh.
Do tell, How did the collaboration start? I mean, I could tell.
You could
Yeah,
I could tell.
You know the answer.
To be
I know the
honest,
answer.
I cannot really remember how it started. One was the first idea, I don't know.
I can tell you how it all started. That was way before your time.
Yeah, I think so.
Then we went to Basel World, and Michael Stockton,
Yeah.
Stockton and Balázs Ferenci
Yeah.
came along. And they were here, and they wore the Aeromasters and stuff,
Yeah.
and they were quite into it already.
Yeah.
And then we met again in Horgenta, Munich. That's when you came in as well. And then we started thinking about maybe doing something together.
Yeah.
And I think the main focus on that project was to get something that's beyond just like those one shots, or like, you know, to find the, let's say, intrinsics of a true collaboration, you know, between, I wouldn't call it media partner, but between watch enthusiasts or a community and a brand, I guess. Yeah.
But I think this was also because I always had this an idea, and I love things like have a collection, something also for collectors, have a red line. And we tried it first with Japan, so why do not have an only Japan collection? So in all the families, so the Flieger, Marine Master, Stratoliner, and always go on, but always have this red line and the designs. Whenever you see it, you recognize it. Hey, this is one of the Japan editions.
Yeah.
And I really loved these ideas because it makes sense out of design.
Yeah.
And I really hate these one shots.
Yeah.
Let's make a blue one with a stamp or what else.
Yeah.
For what?
Yeah.
Just for selling watches? No, this is not what you're here for.
Yeah.
And I do not really know where coming the idea, but it was from the first minute I was a fan. So let's do it, please, because I love it.
Yeah.
No, I think the idea was basically probably on a beer. And then we said, Xavier, our designer, come on, you have all the watches that are gonna come, make a Fratello collection. And then put it on the table, let's talk. I think that's how it came up to that point. So maybe you could talk a bit about the design elements on that watch.
Okay, so first of all, on the Flieger General, it's a new, modern, well thought out pilot watch, started from new, out of the box, forget everything about tradition. Yes, of course, the Flieger has a tradition in Fortis, so we started with this.
I
green
remember
and orange.
vividly. I remember vividly the Fortis Flieger watches
Of
from
course,
the past. Yeah.
Green, orange.
But I think the only thing we kept was the green and orange. But at the end, it's all about readability.
Yeah.
To be honest, if you talk to the pilots, it's all about readability. In a split of a second. This is the most important. So forget all the rest. And then we had a talk about with the PC7 team. From the Swiss Air Force, and they had this idea of the synchro line because they synchronize their watches before they fly formation, and they give themselves the gap from minus to plus 5 seconds. So and that's why we have this synchro line at the top from -5 to +5, and of course we have the second hand which fills the gap at 12 o'clock. If you see the small gap on 12 o'clock, so the second hand is 0.25 millimeter longer than the big track, and it fills and it closes the line. So this is the synchro line, and of course we have this bezel with a 24-click system to have this
Proper
analog
clicks.
GMT at the top. And at the end, that is all about this watch. We have this bricks track for the best readability with really gluing.
The bricks. It's like Lumicast. Basically.
It's like Lumicast, and this gives you the best readability by night, and that's all. And the rest is
for me, it's a proper tool watch. It's a no-nonsense watch, and I feel that's important with all the, like you said, so much is being made up these days and following trends and so on. I think this is a proper tool watch.
Yeah, it is.
And that's, I think, one important fact of the Fratello lineup, basically, to have something that's not following a trend, but being a collector, you know, I can collect this, and it's, you know, it's only adding up.
The rest was the design, because it just, especially, I know the biggest discussion inside our community have been the lugs. Legs, Everybody, it's too long, it's too long. No, the proportion is perfect. This was just because they had a big watch and then they shortened it because just of comfort. But this is not design for me. Design is always proportion and perfection.
It's also something from the last few years. The lug-to-lug length is something that is.
Don't ask me luck to luck. I
Yeah,
don't care.
yeah. It
It's
needs
all about the watch.
You get
And it either fits you or it doesn't fit you. For me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like the people, but you know, you have these comments, oh, those lugs are nuts.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, man, have you ever put it on the wrist? You know? So, that makes a whole different story.
And we made a test at the beginning when Xavier brought the first design. Everybody was shocked about the lux. Oh, it's quite long. Okay, let's do a test. And I know we printed 40 different length designs.
Yeah.
And everybody just came in the room. We did not tell anybody what length is what.
Yeah.
And everybody at the end, this was because this is a perfect proportion. You have to feel with your heart and not with your wrist.
Yeah. Fully agree.
Yeah.
Stunning.
And then of course we had this. I don't know. Xavier was come with this brown-orange edition.
Yeah, it kind of features a bit of the influence from the brown.
Yeah.
It comes a bit from the Fratello logo.
Yeah.
So, but the light brown was too light for a pilot, obviously.
Yeah. Then it's not enough contrast, and the orange plays in nice into the Dutch theme, I would say.
Always something.
Orange.
That was obvious.
You need always this small thing, this small Easter egg.
Show him it's Berlak.
To be honest, as I saw when I have seen the first designs, I was a little brown.
Yeah.
That's really old-fashioned.
Yeah, it can be, but it isn't.
Then I saw some samples and I said, okay, that's nice. That's really cool. And I think from the whole collection we launched now in March, and this will be one of my favorites. I'm 100% sure.
Yeah, it's interesting. The interesting part about the capsule edition is that it's not limited.
Yeah, it's not limited.
Because we thought, why should I limit the community? That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
And if you are a community brand, and we are.
And it's also often heard feedback that we get, such a nice watch, why is it limited again? Yeah. And sometimes you're restricted, so you can't do much more. And other times, it's nice to have a watch that is always there, like a capsule collection that people can buy whenever they want.
I'm not a big fan of limited editions.
No, me neither.
Limited make only sense if you do it 1 or twice a year maximum. But a lot of brands recognize that limited editions are selling well, so they bring every week is coming a new limited edition. And this makes no sense for me.
Also brands that only do limited editions, and it's their right to do so.
Of course they can, no problem, but I don't like it.
Yeah, that's very cool. It's only available on your fratellowatches.com then at the time.
We have an e-com platform.
But I will buy it directly from Fortis.
Oh, you do? So,
how is that possible? How is that possible?
Yeah, thank you for the talk. I have some quick questions. Open questions first, and then some if or not, either or whatever. And you could just one by one maybe.
He started.
Okay. You've just been elected the president of the US. Which watch do you wear in your inauguration?
Easy one.
Easy one?
Easy one.
For me too.
Oh.
Yeah. But you go first.
Okay. I know that in the Omega Museum there's the watch that John F. Kennedy wore during the inauguration. And I already had it on my wrist once. And I thought, that's nice. If once I will become the president of the US, I can borrow it, perhaps. I'm pretty sure they will lend it to me for a day. So that would be the watch for like historical reasons, I would say.
Nice one, huh? Like that?
I think there are two different ways to see it, because yes, a reduced watch. I think if you get the president, you do not want the community to look at your watch. So take a 3-hand watch, really reduced, like the Flieger F41 or something like that, or M40, what else. But I think more, if it's an important day for yourself, I think I will wear this watch I love the most, which is the most important for me.
Also good. Yeah.
That's good.
So, and at the end, of course, this will be the cosmonaut for me.
Good answer.
And you, because you also had an idea.
Yeah, I mean, to me, although it might not be that obvious, but I would probably wear a Cartier tank.
Oh.
It has that
It's
presidential...
It's one of your Grail watches, huh?
Yeah, it's like the shape of it, it's like something special, you know. It's like...
Iconic.
And you see it often on women, you know.
Yeah.
But you don't see it often on men.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, true.
Yeah. What's a no-no for a watch? You go first.
A no-go for a watch?
Yeah.
Woo. if the from everything is allowed, I think, in the watch industry. But for me personally, I love design. And if the color and the proportion and the case does not fit together, if I don't feel it, if you see here, just put Photoshop, take Photoshop and create a new watch. This is something I really I hate. If there's enough emotion inside and well thought out, everything is allowed for me. But I see so many watches, really traditional with a big crown and then a pink dial. It doesn't fit. You know, everything has to. Then there has to be a story inside. Why?
For me, what I absolutely dislike, and it has occurred multiple times that I didn't buy the watch because of it, is that if the movement doesn't fit the watch, if the movement is so small compared to the watch that it uses a big spacer ring.
Right. You see it on the date then.
Yeah, exactly. But I was looking, for example, at the Patek Philippe dress watch, the 5196, on the top of my head. Beautiful, stunning dress watch. And then I started reading about it, and I saw a review, and someone opened the case back, and there was a movement inside as big as a dime. And I was like,
there's too much.
And that ruins it for me.
That's a good answer. It feels like, it's like Apple when they said there's still space inside.
You also have these watches. I don't want to talk bad about other brands, but at some point the Zenith had a CEO, Thierry Nataf, and he had these watches. They were so big, and they also had these small. They were not small movements. They just made the case super big, and they kept the movements as they were, and it looked awkward.
I never thought about things like that to see it from this point of view, but. For us, it was always clear because if you do construction, you have the movement, and you start about the rollers and build the watch around the movement, and then it always fits.
True. And with the Zenith, you saw it because there was a sapphire case back. But with the Patek, you don't even see it. It's a closed case back, so you don't see the movement. But knowing it already ruins it for me.
Okay.
Because you get the feeling of.
That movement is not made for that watch. It doesn't belong together somehow.
It's like
they fixed it with a later Calatravas, but
if it doesn't fit.
What would be your superpower if you had one?
Well, besides
having one,
besides world peace, curing cancer, and so on.
Curing cancer would be good.
I think teleportation.
Teleportation.
And there's so much time wasted by traveling. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's good.
Traveling is wasting time.
And sometimes you can do something, but it's always you're cramped in an airplane. You're there with your laptop. It's you're never at ease. You're never relaxed. I would say, even if you fly business class, there's always still this anxiousness and it's teleportation.
Good answer. Like it. Very good.
Never thought about, but
now you go for teleportation.
It sounds interesting, but I think it's also nice to go to the future and see what will happen.
You really don't want that.
No, I love to think about the future.
Yeah, but you don't want that.
I don't care about the past. I always think going forward. See what happens next.
Next thing you want to learn?
Whoa, there are many things I want to learn, but I think I do not have the time for it. I always try to learn piano, but
Jiu-jitsu?
Yes, of course. This is what I already do, but if you say, okay, what I do next, I don't know. But piano is...
Piano?
Of course, one of these things I
always try. You have a nice piano at home.
I have a piano at home. I tried it, but I do not have the time to practice. I learned piano for the whole time of my youth, for 12 years, but I hate it.
Me too. From every single book, I had part 1.
Yeah, that's right. But it would be an instrument I really would love to play.
Piano is beautiful.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
But I do not have the time, and I think I have to wait for 20 years to start.
You can even learn on a tablet if you want to, on the way.
Yeah, maybe.
But it's not nice. Your?
Play better golf.
How is that?
I started playing golf when I was a student, but then I had 10 lessons here, 10 lessons there. Sometimes there were years in between. I never really picked it up until I turned 40 in 2017. And I bought a golf bag and with clubs, and I went to a club and took courses, got my handicap EJ thing.
What's your handicap?
I'm ashamed. 3. It's more than 3. It's above 3. It's under 54. It's above 3. And But it's just, and it's a lack of time to do properly, because I spend so much time on a driving range hitting balls, but I can hit the ball because I played hockey, field hockey for so many years. So that's not a problem, but it's the thing you do. You have half an hour. Okay, let's go to the driving range, hit some balls. But to learn proper golf, I realized too late, or not too late, but later on, you need to go on the course.
Yeah.
That's where you learn it. And I simply do not have the time for that yet. So that's...
You need to grow older.
Yeah, but now I got my wife also to play golf. And
That's
now
a good one.
And now she gets it, and my daughter's now a little bit older. So now perhaps in the near future there's a bit more time to practice and to go on the course.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. What's your guilty pleasure?
I don't do guilty pleasures, but because I'm not ashamed of anything.
That's a very good answer.
Every Wednesday afternoon in the office, we have Schlager Mittwoch. We play some German music in the office.
What's your favorite song there?
Well, he was very annoyed when you called his music Schlager, but I really like Udo Jürgens.
Nice.
Yeah.
The good old Jürgens.
I've been to 2 of his concerts, one in Germany and one in the Netherlands, when he was still alive, of course. And I think I love the classics. I like the classic ones.
Whatever is played on Mallorca.
Roland Kaiser, those kind of things from the past. They're fun. And, and then we do that in the afternoon from 12 to 6.
Nice.
No, at some point.
Sorry, Jupp, I need to leave.
At some points, my colleagues say, "Now it's enough. Stop."
Okay,
yeah.
Yours?
I really don't know.
You really don't know?
But you know me now really well. Do I have one?
A guilty pleasure, writing emails in the car.
While driving?
Yes, I do.
Being always available more.
Yeah.
Because you like that.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I'm a 24-hour, 7 days guy.
Yeah, I have that too for Fratello, but I also see that you need to break once in a while.
But it's quite hard.
It's very tough.
Yeah, especially
it's very
these days.
tough.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Cool. Quickies, open quickies. What is not a big deal to most people, but is a torture to you?
Oh wow.
Flying?
Flying?
No.
Like he hates to fly. Luckily he builds pilots.
No, I don't hate it anymore, but I did an one time a training in Swiss for flying, and since these days it's okay.
Oh.
But it was a 3-day exercise or what else.
Okay.
And then since these days it's okay, but before this time it was really, really tough.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what I really hate, and in my opinion, everyone should hate it, but I don't think it's the case because my wife likes it. Doing groceries.
What?
Doing groceries, going to the supermarket.
What's that?
Awful. Awful. It's
only if you're abroad.
Oh, I like when you're on holiday. It's nice to see some other in the US. They're quite nice, and also in France and Spain. But in the Netherlands, no.
Some cheese, like in Switzerland.
There's only cheese. Only cheese.
What non-existent job do you wish existed?
What? Quite difficult question.
So, this job isn't existent, but you would love to have that job.
I'm a lazy guy. I don't want to work.
Well, it would be nice if they pay you to watch Netflix series.
That would be a good job.
I would say.
Yeah?
That's my way to relax a little bit. So if I get paid to do that, it would be awesome.
That would be good.
Quite a good idea.
Yeah. And they should, because we have an opinion about these series, right?
Yeah.
So,
True.
Give us some feedback.
What are the least likely 3 words someone would use to describe you?
You are asking questions.
Yeah.
Quite
I guess nobody's going to tell you you're lazy.
No. To be honest, I'm a lazy guy.
You are.
But I know it's important to do so. That's why I'm doing it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
I think I'm really. If my wife should describe me, I think I'm really. That's the target.
Focused.
Focused. Yeah.
Okay.
The question was the words they will not use.
Yeah.
I think they will not use that I'm dishonest.
Okay.
I always
That's
want
good.
to be honest. Also, always want to be transparent. So for me, that's super important to be very.
I agree on that.
Good. But for the rest, I don't know. I have no idea. I have to do a pass.
What was your last impulse buy?
PlayStation 5.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
FIFA?
No,
What's that?
I'm the only Dutch guy that doesn't play, that doesn't like soccer.
Oh, is that?
Oh, I like Formula 1, so
okay.
yeah, because we're the world champion in that.
Ah, true.
Max Verstappen. But no, so I used to play video games when I was a kid, and I had the Sega and Nintendo and the first PlayStation. I think later on I bought a PlayStation 2, and then it went quiet for a long time. And then I thought, oh, why not? I will buy a PlayStation 5 and see if I like it. But so much has changed.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Since 15 years ago.
5 minutes.
So you have this controller with like 20 buttons instead of the D-pad from Nintendo. Man, it's annoying to then see my daughter. She knew I bought it, I installed it, and at some point I came home and she was playing it. I didn't even tell her how to use it, how to switch it on, and she's 9. And she was playing again. I thought, oh man, I'm too old for this. But I enjoy it. Yeah.
For me, it was a motorcycle.
Oh yeah, I know that one, that grey one.
The grey one, yes.
Have you ever ride it?
No, I bought it 2 years ago and it has 500 kilometers
Oh,
now.
wow.
But motorcycles for me is the same like watches.
Yeah.
I see it, I like it, I buy it, and I have too much now at home.
You need so much room for that.
Yeah, you need so much room.
Better buy watches.
I tried now to sell, okay, there are too many motorcycles in my garage. I have to sell it, but I cannot.
Okay, final quick round. In bed or at night, keep the watch on or off?
Off.
Grey watch and safe or wrist? I think that's clear.
Wrist.
Yeah, wrist, of course.
Automatic or hand winding?
Automatic.
I knew this was going to be a tricky one. It was clear. Founding the first automatic
For the practicality, I would say automatic, but I have to say, in the morning, if you wind a watch, you somehow get a connection. It's like an easy. You sit there for like 20 seconds. You look at the watch. You have it in your hands. You feel the watch. You experience the watch. You feel the movement, the clicking. It's nice. Yeah, it's nice. But yeah, if you are quick, you are in a hurry in the morning, you don't have even time for an espresso, then yeah, automatic.
Yeah, I mean, we have to say automatic.
Yeah, of course. Very good.
Leather strap or metal bracelet?
Depends on the watch, but most watches I wear on the metal bracelet, but I also have straps for them.
Okay.
So it also depends. In the summer, I don't like leather straps that much. In the winter, it's nice. If it's an alligator, and I start to wear less and less alligator, I have to say, because I'm getting more conscious about the poor animals. But yeah, it depends on the season, I guess, and depends a little bit on the type of watch.
Okay.
Yeah. Metal.
Yeah, that was clear. Large corporation or family owned?
Family owned.
In a previous life, I worked for both type of companies. They both have their pros and cons, I would say, because oftentimes I think the biggest downside for me in a family company was that it's very difficult to grow in a family company because there's always some nephew somewhere that gets the proper position.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, there you go. And I feel, man, if you have to fight against that, then it will be very tough. But I also feel a family-owned company is more friendly. It's a bit more human, perhaps.
Yeah.
And I also worked for a corporate company, and everything was fixed, everything was arranged. So that's nice. Everything has been taken care of. So it's more practical again. But yeah, if you want to have fun at the company and you want to have a nice time, because it's so much time of your day, and time is the most precious thing we have, I guess, then I would say family-owned company.
It's a third of your life.
It needs to be nice. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you very much for that super cool talk. I really much enjoyed it.
It was nice.
Thank you for being here.
Awesome questions.
Yeah. I mean, you can keep them for your next interviews. Yeah, cool. That was very much fun. I liked it very much. You need to get one of those as well, I guess.
Buy it in the Fratello shop.
And you guys, if you want one, you go to fratellowatches.com and I guess you're going to find it there. Cool. Thank you, first and foremost.
Great.
Thank you.